Welcome back to Hip Politics Live, Hip Politics News. It's your boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin, the founder of Hip Politics and one of your Hip Politics News correspondents. I wanted to just drop three quick stories for the week that you may have missed that have been happening in the world of politics and culture. And first up, let's talk about these pardons. Donald Trump has been pardoning people left and right. We've seen him pardon everything from the January 6th people who stormed the Capitol and literally killed somebody and overran and almost upturned our democracy, all the way to various rappers, the Lil Waynes and the Kodak Blacks of the world, disgraced financiers. And it's almost seemed that if it's been a little pay for play, if you get to the right people get pardoned. But so Congress and a lot of people have been grumbling, no matter what side of the aisle they've been on, they've been grumbling about that. And with so in effort to be able to do that, in effort to be able to do that, several members of Congress have looked to quench that power. So today, well, actually this week, I should say, the first Republican signed on to a bill that would essentially limit and give Congress the veto power over presidential pardons. Can you see me? Just want to make sure. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, you can? Can you see me? Ooh, boom. There it is. Much better, much better. Um, so let me bring this up so you guys can see. Click, click. Ooh, yep. So essentially, it's a constitutional amendment. So this is going to be super hard to pass. Not many constitutional amendments do pass. Different laws do, but not constitutional. They're trying to literally amend the Constitution. Under this, which is known as the Pardon Integrity Act, which was put forward by Democrat Representative. Let me make sure I'm saying this guy's name right. Representative Johnny Olszewski. The Pardon Integrity Act essentially would be a constitutional amendment that would allow 20 members of the House and 5 members of the Senate to have veto power over a presidential pardon. That's not a lot. I mean, there's more than 60 members of the Congressional Black Caucus alone, and they could put four members in the Senate and put together easily probably a coalition to be able to effectively limit any presidential pardon. So with that, I think this is almost something that is going to be super hard to pass. It's not getting a ton of traction, but it was really big that a Republican came out. Now the caveat is he's retiring. So he essentially is going to vote is conscious. A lot of members tend to do that when they announce they're retiring or not seeking reelection. That's when they go in and try to push for stuff, and that's when they finally get bipartisan. But at least he's trying. We'll see if it happens. Don Bacon said in a statement, "I'm pleased to co-sponsor Representative Olszewski's Pardon Integrity Act, a constitutional amendment that establishes a narrow, common sense guardrail." Um, so we'll see if it passes. I don't really give it that much credence. I mean, it's something that we should continue to push and ask for a limit on presidential pardons, but we'll see if it passes. Next up, which you probably all came here for, unfortunately. Finally, Epstein is paying his dues, and recently his estate had to settle a $35 million lawsuit, a class action suit that was brought against him. So, just so you know, and let me make sure I read this right. Jeffrey Epstein's estate has agreed to pay as much as $35 million to resolve a class action lawsuit that accused 2 of the disgraced financier's advisors of aiding and abetting his sex trafficking of young women and teenage girls. That's according to a court filing that just came out this late Thursday. A law firm representing Epstein's victims announced the settlement in a brief filed in federal court in Manhattan. Now, this is a deal that has yet to be approved, but if it is approved by a judge, it would bring an end to the 2024 lawsuit filed against Epstein's former personal lawyer, Darren Indike, and former accountant Richard Kahn, who are co-executors of Epstein's estate. Neither Indike nor Kahn made any admission or concession of misconduct as part of the settlement. So they don't have to admit they did anything wrong in order for the settlement to go through. That 2024 lawsuit that we're talking about here, um, says Indike and Khan helped Epstein create a complex web of corporations and bank accounts that let him hide his abuse and pay victims and recruiters while leaving them richly compensated for their work. Weiner said in the settlement would provide a confidential avenue of financial relief for Epstein victims because they don't want them to be put out there. They don't want them to become targets. So hopefully this will stop that. Again, as you remember, Epstein died in jail by suicide in August of 2019. I don't know. I think this guy. I just read somewhere that he just made over $100 million his estate investments that he had. So I think his victims should be getting all this money back as much as they can. So kudos to that. And finally, something that, as you know, Hip Politics was down at Los Angeles for NBA All-Star Weekend, working with members of Congress, athletes, culture, business leaders, owners for various events. But our man, I would say, with the NBA's number one fan, definitely the Knicks' number one fan, Mr. Courtside himself, the famed, the Academy Award-winning director and producer and actor, Spike Lee, really caused it. I don't think it was controversy. I'm curious which if you think it was controversy, but Spike Lee was criticized for wearing Palestine colors on courtside and on the red carpet. But he said these are symbols of my concern. So Spike Lee wanted to shut up all the haters. So what he did, Spike Lee, his fashion is everywhere. But so I want to make sure I'm reading this right. He put together. Ooh, whoops, that's not how that goes. Spike Lee, let me pull this up so I make sure I'm reading this right. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold up. So he had an Instagram post where he addressed all of this, and he just kind of looked directly. He said, "Much respect to Denny Avdia. Denny Avdia is a forward on the Portland Trailblazers, the first Israeli-born player in the NBA All-Star Game. Congratulations also to all the players in the NBA. There have been some conjecture about what I wore to the games on Saturday and Sunday. The clothes I wore are symbols of my concern for the Palestinian children and civilians, and my utmost belief in human dignity for all mankind. What I wore was not intended as a comment on the significance of Denny being an all-star. There were 28 NBA players chosen to be in LA this weekend. I didn't know them all, and Denny playing for the Portland Trailblazers, a West Coast team. I didn't know Denny as the first Israeli-born All-Star. I didn't know Denny as the first Israeli-born All-Star. He can ball. Now I do know that. Live and learn, onward and upward, peace and love. You dig? Show enough. Spike Lee. Spike Lee, Spike Lee, Spike Lee. I love this. And then Spike Lee never really strays away for controversy. He's known for his fashion. I mean, look at him. He's always debuting new Jordans. He's has the longest tenured partnership with the Jordan brand. I mean, he's always or releasing exclusive ones. He did the Levi threes ahead of they were releasing 26 just recently, but he wore them courtside last fall during a game. I mean, he's debuting his Spizikes. This was him last year when he put out Highs to Lowest with Denzel and ASAP Rocky at the Cannes Film Festival, wearing his exclusive Spizikes. You can get those everywhere. So it's like, I think. So you mean on that Saturday, Spike wore a hoodie. He wore a hoodie. Here, let's take a look at the hoodie. On Saturday, he wore a hoodie featuring black and white images of heroes of the civil rights movement, along with a small bag in the colors of the Palestinian flag. You see that over his shoulder. On Sunday, he decided to wear down a Fifi patterned sweater with the same bag and Palestinian pins on his chest. The outfits drew ires from several online users, so people who couldn't be there to say anything in his face, just people, it's always going to be some controversy one way or another. Instead of him making the moment about politics, Lee said it was him supporting humanity. So, I mean, Lee wasn't the only noted figure to support Palestine during the NBA's big All-Star weekend. If you saw Irvin, he would have been an All-Star, I'm sure, if he was playing this year. But he's recovering from an ACL injury, so he's out he just noted to be out all season. But he's always spoken up. He wore a press T-shirt similar to the one journalists wear in Gaza. More than 300 journalists and media workers have been killed in Gaza Strip since October 2023. So with that, it's a little bit of just like I said, Hip Politics Live News. Wanted to make sure I'm constantly coming in every single day with at least 2 or 3 news bites you may not be paying attention to, but is important going on in the world of politics and culture. And with that, we're out. Peace. This has been another Hip Politics News Live with your boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin.